Hello and welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It's our player rating special episode. Today we'll be doing the ratings for the Chelsea versus Tottenham game. It was the biggest game of the game week, but not as entertaining as we thought. A lack of goals clearly with a 0-0 result. I have with me as usual my co-host Abrar Aziz. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well in terms of the footballing world. And after a 1 week hiatus, a 1 week break, our other co-host is back in the house. United win made him feel better, and he's feeling good now.
My hood is stuck. Give me a second.
No worries, man.
Yeah, I thought it would be better with my hood up, but no. Yeah, yo, what's up, man?
So Zohair's with us. Zohair comes back, and I'm sure that United win made your health feel better as well. And
bro, my mom was telling me to drink some yakni. All I needed was some Cavani, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, how's everything, guys? Everything's good. Enjoyed the games, except for Don.
Yeah, man. Decent games, bro. Decent games. I mean, I thought that some surprising result. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, some surprising results, except for I think the one at the Emirates that was expected. But
that was expected.
But yeah, I think
the one at St. Mary's, because that was also expected.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I thought there was going to be some higher scoring games, and I didn't really see that. And there were some upsets, man, like Leicester. I don't know what happened over there. Brighton getting that penalty at the very end. Some interesting results.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean,
some strange stuff went on this weekend.
Yeah, there were some weird results.
Yeah. I think honestly, I thought the Chelsea and Spurs game was very entertaining. I mean, of course, it lacked goals, but I thought it was a very entertaining game in general in terms.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, your thoughts on the game in general.
I think in terms of just the way the both teams were tactically set up, I think it was a typical Mourinho kind of style. Like he set up defensively, structured it very, very well. He's trying to break on the counter. Chelsea tried as hard as they possibly could, snuck it in the end, but Lloris came up with a huge save. So I thought it was a good game.
I think he just played the same game plan that he played against Pep.
Yeah,
because it worked against Pep, and honestly, they executed well. They just didn't have the same finishing luck, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it. They just didn't have that in this game.
I also thought. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Now, I also thought Chelsea defended a little bit better than City did, and even midfield-wise, I think they didn't completely get outrun. You saw how against the City game, Højbjerg was completely all over the place. He was breaking plays and pushing the ball forward very, very quickly. I thought when they tried to do that, I think Kante and Kovacic did a decent job to try and negate that.
No. Chelsea's defenders definitely did a much better job, and honestly, bro, having Thiago Silva in there as well, it really does help, because it gives them that steel, it gives them that just that little bit of experience and that little bit of calmness that you need in those sorts of situations, which I feel like right now, if you look at the City lineup, there's no one in that City lineup in their defense that's real rock solid. But Chilwell's good. I told you, I've been singing Reece James praises for a while. They have a solid back line, better than City's for sure.
Yeah.
And then Mendy's been killing it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, Mendy has been outstanding. So if Don, if you wanted to, you wanted to say something?
No, that's it.
Yeah, so I was saying we'll start with the player ratings. I actually want to talk about Mendy first, so we'll go with Chelsea's player ratings first. So you can chip in when you like as well. But so starting with the goalkeeper, Mendy, like Zoe was saying, I think he's done a brilliant job since he's come in, and some really good saves in this game. Your thoughts on his performance and the rating?
I mean, he was very confident. It's probably for Chelsea fans, it's a refreshing change to see that kind of confidence in between the sticks. Yeah, they've had the issues, unfortunately, with Kepa, but I think that he's looking confident. I think he's manning the backline well. He's communicating with his defenders very well. He made a few decent saves. He wasn't called upon as much, because it was whatever little Tottenham created, I thought he did a decent job in kind of making the null and void. That one very important save that he did for when N'Golo Kante almost made a colossal error from that corner. So that was a very important save. So I thought that for that only, I thought I have to give him an extra point. So overall, I thought he had a very decent game, 8 on 10 for him.
8 on 10 for Mendy. Even that save from Aurier, I think that was a pretty good save as well.
Yes.
So yeah, so a couple of good saves.
The
8
first
on
half,
10 plus a clean sheet. So yeah, fair enough. One extra point for that. And Reece James, this guy's really impressed me from Chelsea. Your thoughts on his performance?
I thought he was in my personal opinion, I thought he was man of match. I thought he had a very, very good game. He was going forward. He was attacking very well. He completely shut down Kane and Son. If any kind of threat from his side, there was hardly any threat from his side. They actually tried to go more through Ben Chilwell because they were not finding any luck from Reece James' side. I thought that he did a very good job defensively. Also, he was moving well when he was going forward. He put in a few very, very good crosses as well.
Yeah, really
one of which Abraham should have really finished, but he couldn't. So I thought he had a very, very good game. So I'm going to give him a 9 on 10.
9 on 10.
Yeah,
9 on 10 for Reece James. Yeah, and in the past few games as well, he's been the player to watch out for Chelsea. He's been really good. Kurt Zouma, I mean, it was a decent game. In the end, he almost lost it for a second with a crazy mistake.
I was so shocked.
Yeah, I mean, if Lo Celso didn't give that, if he gave that pass instead of going for that weird shot or whatever, it could have been game over right there and then. But apart from that, a decent game, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think he did a pretty decent job. That in the end, though, that was a big shocker. Just when I felt like they were talking, everyone was like the game was finishing and stuff like that, and everyone was talking how good Chelsea's backline have been, and that kind of error really creeped up. So it was somewhat of a shocker, but I think that's kind of what you expect sometimes with Zuma. I thought he had a very good game apart from that one very glaring error, unfortunately.
He kept Kane quiet for most of the time.
For most of the time, I think he
I think Zuma's really been that he's done bits this season, and he's really, really improved. I think he's solid, man. I think maybe it was maybe playing against next to Rudiger wasn't the right thing for him, but ever since he's been playing against Silva, Zuma's been a beast.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think some of these leaders at the back, you kind of need them. So I've also noticed the likes of Joe Gomez look very good when they play with Van Dijk, because they kind of elevate that kind of a performance. I think it's similar with Zuma because Silva brings in that experience and that kind of communication with him. I think he's looking very good. But that error in the end, man, is so shocking. I'm going to be very critical of him. I'm going to give him a 6.5 because that could have really changed the game for Chelsea after a very good performance through the kind of 90-minute period.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then moving on, Thiago Silva, Zoe mentioned about him, his experience coming into play. And it's like, he is old now and stuff, but he managed to adjust to the pace of the Premier League. So your thoughts on his performance?
He's huge, man. I mean, this is probably a contender. I think one of the signings that has gone kind of unnoticed, and not necessarily unnoticed. I think people are starting to notice it now, but I think when it did happen, not a lot of talk was going on around it because there were bigger signings and bigger money players being bought around everywhere. They were like the likes of let's say Cavani and with that, not Cavani necessarily, but some of the other guys like let's say Ziyech and Werner and Havertz, and these guys were being talked about a lot more. But I thought Thiago Silva was very important signing for them, and he's picked up the pace of the Premier League, like you said, very well. He's adapted. I think he just took a couple of games to just settle in, and now he knows the plan is clear. I think that he's leading the line. He's gotten the captaincy over some of the other guys who are more older in this team, sort of. So I think legit performance today as well. He was very, very solid. I think the communication, I keep mentioning that because I thought that was very good. He kept talking. You kept seeing him waving his hands around, shouting all the time. He had a decent job. I thought 7.5 for him. Pretty decent.
Yeah, because even if he gets beaten for pace, because he's getting older now, there are times he might get beaten for pace, but because of his vocalness and his positioning and the way he's marshalling the troops, I think it'll always give him an advantage, and that's key right now for Chelsea.
I agree 100%. I think that's very important. A very solid performance, 7.5 and 10.
Yeah, and Chilwell, your thoughts on his performance?
So I don't know if this was a intentional effort, but I felt like Chilwell wasn't going forward too much. I don't know if it was like a tactical decision because usually you see Chilwell go forward a little bit more, but maybe they were worried about the threat that Spurs bring with the counter. So I think that he was either he was a little conscious himself, or if it was tactical, I'm not very sure what to gauge off of that. But I thought attacking wise, he was not as his effective best. I think he can bring in a lot more attacking wise, but I thought defensively he was pretty solid. So I think he did a decent job. I thought defensively, I think he helped out Zuma and
I mean, to your point, I think definitely, like, with Chilwell, like, he kind of was put, at times he had to deal with the threat of Serge Aurier, who's been playing better and better this season, especially going forward, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if Aurier is on his game, it makes his opposition fullback, have to think a little bit more about making those runs forwards, because you leave that space in behind. I thought maybe that was a little bit of it, because they knew that, Tottenham would try to play on the counter. So, just hold back a little bit to watch for that, watch for that trap, watch for that spring.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think that's kind of what they did. Like I said, I mean, it was, I think, the worry of kind of a typical Mourinho counter attacking style football, and then just get found out at the back. That was what probably they intended to do. But I think overall, I thought he did decently. Only worry is probably that knock in the end. Hopefully, it's not a serious one, because that would really upset Chelsea's flow right now. But I thought he had a decent game, 7 on 10.
7-10 for Chilwell. And then moving on to Kante, he saw the ball quite a bit with that one mistake. But apart from that, he had a decent game.
I thought he I think every counter attack he was kind of breaking those plays out for Spurs. Whenever there was, like, I think he was breaking those plays out well, which is what was expected of him.
Really involved in the game.
Yeah, I thought he had a very good game, except for that shocking error. Again, there was just one of those things that, when you have such glaring errors, it just becomes very difficult to kind of give you those extra points. But I just feel like I have to be critical again of that issue. I mean, of course, I mean, now it's 0-0 in hindsight, everything is hunky dory. But I thought that could have really changed the game, and you know how Tottenham will really shut off if they get that goal, and they made it very hard for Chelsea, and they would have probably gone with the 3 points. So that's kind of something that you don't want to do against this Tottenham side.
100%.
It was not necessarily their day. So I'm going to be a little critical, even though I thought he had a good game, just because of that error. 6.5 on 10.
6.5 out of 10 for Kante. And then moving on to his partner Kovacic, he probably didn't produce as much in the final third, but apart from that, we put in a big shift.
I think he put in a decent shift. I thought he was pretty decent. I thought he did what was required of him. I just felt like he needed to be a little bit more decisive in the final third. Someone like a Havertz probably has that a little bit more in him in terms of just providing attacking wise. And you saw that Chelsea missed that a little bit. That creativity was missing. As an Arsenal fan, I shouldn't be talking about creativity right now, but you could see that was missing a little bit. But I thought he started off a little bit slowly, but I thought in the second half he really tried. Unfortunately, I think he was just not able to come up with the goods. But I thought he had a pretty decent game up. He kind of did what was required of him. He tried as much as he possibly could. So I think decent performance. 7 on 10.
7 on 10. Yeah. And Mason Mount, he had a really good chance. So probably could have put that away. But apart from that, defensively, he was decent. What were your thoughts on his performance?
I think he had a decent game. I felt like it was one of those games where you kind of felt that he was a little bit in and out of it. I thought he could have there were periods of time where you felt like Mount was not involved at all. So it just felt like it was a poorer game to some of the ones that I've seen him. But I think that effort in the end was huge, and then Lloris came up with a big save. So it ended up 0-0, but that could be the difference. It could have been the difference between the two sides, and I'm going to give him an extra point for that. But I thought he just felt like he could have been more involved, and that's maybe just trying to see how Chelsea was not able to create, and he was an important aspect in going ahead when they do try to create. He was I thought he was found a bit lacking, so I'm just going to give him a 6.5 on 10.
6.5 on 10. And then moving on to Ziyech, it looked like Mourinho had a specific plan for him. Like he wasn't given enough space. He couldn't, get those balls. His usual play we've seen over the last few game weeks. He was like pretty much stifled by Spurs.
Yeah, I think Mourinho picked on that very well. I thought he did a very good job of kind of keeping him down, and you could see that he was frustrated. He was misplacing passes. He was you could see that frustration. He got a yellow card as well, I think. So you could see that, and this is the kind of game that Ziyech needs to learn and quickly come out of, because this is going to happen to him more often than not. I mean, once teams figure him out, he's going to have to try and bring that little bit extra in his game to kind of skip through these kind of game plans. But I thought he was poor today overall. I give him a 6 on 10.
6 on 10 for Ziyech, and
being a little kind to him because I really like him as a player.
Yeah, for sure. It just wasn't his day. And Abraham got into really good positions, had quite a few chances, but couldn't convert.
He was poor, man. He really should have done a lot better in a couple, especially that one cross from Reece James. I think it was first half, but it was just such a good ball. All he needed to just kind of glide it through. I mean, direct it into the back of the net. He wasn't able to do that. Yeah, it was just a poor performance. Unfortunately, I'm a big little critical of him. He was their main guy last season, and maybe the competition's kind of working on his confidence. He is still a young lad,
He had
so
a few good games recently when alongside Werner, but yeah, I think this game he just wasn't clinical.
I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what it was. Maybe the big game stage, he was a little bit more worried and a little bit more anxious. So whatever, I thought he was poor today. So 5 and 10 for him.
5 and 10 for Abraham. And Werner, he had a goal ruled offside. And
that was a nice finish too.
There was a really nice finish. He whipped in a few crosses as well. He was involved in the gameplay, but unfortunately couldn't score. I mean, he did score, but he couldn't score a legit goal, if you want to say. So your thoughts on his performance?
I mean, unfortunately, a right offside decision. Just albeit barely
Man,
offside.
this
But
VAR,
it's shocking. Yeah.
Even today, if you saw if you saw the Villa game as well, it was so.
Oh man, that was rough, bro.
Rough. The Watkins goal.
Some of these decisions are shocking. I mean, it's just so poor. I don't think. I think like a lot of people are now talking about how it's ruining the game, and I kind of have to agree with most of them. Just unfortunate the way things have gone with the VAR. It was not supposed to be like that. It was just supposed to be okay. You make a glaring error. Okay, fine. You know what? You want to change that. But
they're looking at toenails, man.
A matter of millimeters, shocking. It shouldn't be like that. It should be. They have to quickly try to figure out what they want to do in terms of cleaning that out.
They need to figure that out. They need to figure out what's going on with the handball rule, because the handball rule's all over the place as well.
All over the place, man. Yeah. For sure.
That some big decisions need to be made, and they need to be made quickly, because it's starting to really affect games and points in terms of that, like Aston Villa in terms of could have had the point, and that could be telling in the end for them,
I'm honestly surprised the FA hasn't called you yet.
Done.
They need to call me. It's unacceptable. But I think coming back to Werner, I thought he was pretty decent. But just for the fact that he didn't, as a goal scorer, you need to score goals, and he wasn't able to do that. So I'll give him a 6.5 on 10.
6.5 out of 10 for Werner. And then just for the subs, I won't Havertz played, but I won't let you rate him just like a few minutes. But Christian Pulisic came on for Werner around the 74th minute.
I think he was pretty decent. I thought he was, when called upon, I thought he tried again. I tried it as hard. I think last 15-20 minutes Chelsea had the major bulk of the possession, so you could see him get involved a lot more. I thought he tried. I think he's still a little rusty because he's just coming off of the injury as well a little bit. So just a shade rusty, but I think be fair and give him a 6 and 10. I think he had about only
you want to do me a favor? Give him an extra 0.5 just because his beard looked nice.
We'll call it a 6.5 then.
6.5
half point.
6.5 on 10 for the beard style. Half point for the beard style. But it just shows Chelsea's bench strength, man. Like that Pulisic and Havertz waiting on the wings. They're not fully fit. And when they start getting, when they're fully fit and they're in the 11 as well, it's going to be a dangerous team, a team to look out for sure.
Absolutely, especially with the way the season is and so concise and so and there's going to be a lot of games, so like if they do like
they have so many options, man. They have so many different options.
I just forgot they had these two players and they're still winning games without them. So I mean,
they do have a couple of big injuries as well. I think they will be able to have they have decent backups, depending on positions. Of course, maybe they don't want to lose Thiago Silva because he's been very good for them and stuff like that. But I think overall,
even if they lose, let's say they lose Thiago Silva, there's still Rudiger.
They still have.
But I feel like the defense will kind of start.
Of course, it's gonna be affected. But in terms of like at the end of the day, bro, Rudiger is a solid player. He had a bad season, but it's not like he's Mustafi or something.
I think Mustafi is better than Rudiger, but sure. And Mustafi just needs to be coached well. I think he's doing decently under Arteta.
New manager, same as the old manager. Good evening. Here are my tactics for today. You guys suck.
Can't say much right now.
But for the last reading, Oliver Giroud, he had a great chance in the end, man.
What did he do?
He
It was
hit
so
it too early.
shocking.
He hit it too early, like a typical Arsenal player. I don't know what to say, man. I'm joking. But yeah, he had a great chance, but hit it too early, I guess.
Yeah, I think he was very surprised that he had this chance come at him. I think he just didn't know what to do. He had a lot of time. He could have easily taken extra touch and kind of rounded the goalkeeper or tried to chip him, whatever. He had a lot more time than he kind of
Bro.
figured.
If you're asking Giroud to round the goalkeeper, you are not familiar with this skill set.
He's done it, bro. He's done it before.
Very good at certain things, a very specific type of striker, but round the goalie isn't in his skill set, if you ask me.
He's done it before, but I don't think he realized how much time he had, unfortunately. He just tried too hard. And yes, I think the two options were kind of rounding or chipping. I think both of them, he's probably not the kind of guy you want in both those kind of situations.
I think he lacked a bit of composure in that situation. Like,
yeah.
You can give him the benefit of the doubt. It was like, the last minute's pressure, but yeah, you would expect him to show a bit more composure, basically.
Yeah, and I also think that if it was a heading opportunity, I think he would have buried that. But
yeah, he would have buried it. Yeah, he's getting into good positions though, for sure. Like I've seen him recently. But yeah, I think
6 on 10. Yeah,
6 on 10 for Giroud.
Yeah.
If you scored that goal, probably you could have added a couple of points. But yeah,
at least,
I think that wraps up Chelsea's ratings. So Don, fasten your seatbelt, get the popcorn ready. We're gonna talk about the greatest team in North London, Matt. Top of the table, and they're having a laugh. Tottenham Hotspur. Zoe, I'll come to you. Starting with Hugo Lloris in goal. Had a good game, man.
A great game, man. I think he really kept Tottenham in it. Chelsea were definitely threatening. Obviously we saw what the setup was like. It was going to be, Mourinho versus Lampard. This, Stonewall counter-attacking setup that was going to come from Spurs, and it was going to be Chelsea that was going to be on the press. But Lloris stood firm, didn't let anything past him, commanded his box well, commanded his back line well. 8 out of 10, man. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
A couple of good saves as well, man.
Good saves, yeah. The Mason Mount save was brilliant as well.
Exactly. And like Lloris is the type of guy who, for me, he's in that tier of keepers that's really good but not elite. Like, let's say if we call like Jan Oblak, Manuel Neuer, David De Gea, like let's say you call these guys like elite keepers, like De Gea in his like peak season, I'm not talking about last season, but like if you call these guys like peak, I don't think Lloris has ever hit that level. Lloris is that level that's just below. And so he's always capable of something like a mistake or something, but like that Mason Mount save was like an elite level save. Like he put his heart and soul into that one.
Yeah, last couple of games he's been very impressive. I mean, clean sheets, you have to give credit to the defenders as well, but he made some good saves against City as well, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, and so 8 out of 10 for Lloris, and then moving on to Aurier. Like I mentioned last week with Anas, this guy got a lot of stick last year, but he's stepping up now. I think Mourinho's molded him to a really good player. I think he's enjoying playing under him. So your thoughts on his performance?
Absolutely, man. I think like you and Anas said, this guy was lost last year. He was always subject for criticism. Spurs fans were tired of him. They're like, what is this guy? What is he like? He was always a liability. But under Mourinho, he's been a player transformed. He's become a threat going forward. He's always been he's a strong guy. He's quick. He's got good physical attributes. And now he's adding that defensive nous to his game as well. I thought he was one of Tottenham's better players today, man. I think the reason that Ben Chilwell couldn't do what he normally does is because he had to deal with Aurier pushing up and giving him a hard time. So I'm giving Aurier a 7.5 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10 for Aurier. And then Joe Rodon, his first Premier League start. I think it was a solid game until that error in the last second, which played Giroud in towards the dying minutes. He must have had his heart in his mouth. But apart from that, a good game for him.
I thought he was good. I thought his inexperience showed. I mean, definitely he's going to take him time to adjust to this level of the game. There were the signs of talent for sure, 100%. But I did feel that he got bullied off the ball a little bit. He lost a couple of duels. He wasn't able to really impose his will as much as you would want your center back, like someone like Toby Alderweireld would do. So for me, I give him a 6 out of 10. It might be a little bit harsh, but there's a lot of room for improvement for him.
No, 100%. There is room for improvement, but they would be taking confidence because he's filling the big boots of Alderweireld. So to still keep a clean sheet, I think that'll give him, or at least the team, some confidence.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Eric Dyer?
So Eric Dyer, bro, I thought he had a good game. He did well as the senior center back. Obviously when you're playing it in a game how Chelsea was playing, there's gonna be a lot of work to do, and I think that Dyer did it. Dyer did a lot of work, put in a hard shift, kept that clean sheet. Maybe could have been, created more of a, passing outlet over the top to beat the Chelsea press. He has played in midfield before, so that should be part of his game. But I think a 6.5 is fair.
6.5 for Dyer and Sergio Reguilon.
I love this guy, man. I love this guy. This guy's great. This guy that only knows one way to play, and that's all out. And I thought he was great. I thought he was one of Spurs' best outlets going forward, alongside Aurier. Their fullbacks really did give them an opportunity to take Chelsea out. And defensively he does well. He benefits from the fact that he has pace to make up for positional errors. But this game was good. He was threatening. He did his job defensively as well. I have him at a 7 out of 10.
And he should have definitely played in for that in the last second when Lesotho had that chance. He should have definitely passed it to him. Yeah, he was getting to a great position.
I'm glad he chose football as a career and not cricket.
Yeah, you saw that video. Yeah, you didn't know what was happening. Yeah, that was brilliant.
But good catch by Dele Alli, I gotta say.
Yeah, Dele Alli. Yeah, man. I love the Spurs team, man. They're like playing cricket as well. They're practicing. Who needs football? They don't just. They're just not looking at football. They're like diversifying. You never know. They might have a team.
Move on.
They might have a team in the IPL next year as well. Like this club is great, man. Levy's a genius. That's all I can say. But then moving on to Højbjerg, who needs Thomas Partey when you have this guy, man?
That's it, bro. That's good. Bro, honestly, Højbjerg is the sort of team, the person that every team needs. Every team needs this sort of player, this leader, this commander, this hard man, this guy that's going to get the team going, that's vocal, that's going to be yelling out orders, he's going to be barking at you, move forward, go here, come back, pull back, get into shape. He's the sort of guy who has that overall vision. He might not be blessed with the best of skill. He's not going to have the silkiest of feet. He's not going to be able to do these crazy dribbles. But what he does have, he has vision and he has IQ and he knows how to lead. And that is such a valuable quality. And it's something that the Spurs team has been missing a long, long time. So I have him at a 7 out of 10 today.
7 out of 10. Yeah, I mean,
he's a typical. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think he's a typical Mourinho kind of guy. Mourinho would love this kind of a player. Mourinho always has that one grab and go kind of guy, like in the middle, just trying to break plays and then kind of try to just man that midfield. And he's that kind of player.
Yeah, no, 100%. You got it spot on there. And then, so you said 7 out of 10 for Højbjerg? Yeah, 7 out of 10. And then moving on to Moussa Sissoko.
Man, Sissoko, bro. Sissoko, I like Sissoko. I really do. But sometimes, man, he just does weird things. He's got a good passing range. And I think that was important for them today, not today, but when they were playing Chelsea, because in order to beat that press, one of the ways to beat it is to play it over, right? And Sissoko was one of their better options for that, to play the ball over the top of the Chelsea press. But he also got harried and pushed off the ball, and I thought Chelsea's midfield did give him a tough time. You know what? I was gonna give him a 6 out of 10, but because of the clean sheet, I'll give him a 6.5.
6.5 out of 10 for Sissoko. And then Son, he couldn't score or assist today, but your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't score, assist, and wasn't playing up to the standard that we're used to seeing him. But at the same time, I think he had his hands full. I think that Tottenham press starts at the very front, right? And when you've got Timo Werner coming at you, you've got on the other side, you got players like Ziyech, you got Tammy Abraham. There's a lot of pace coming at you. You need to meet that, and you need to press that. So you might not be able to play a regular game, especially if you're setting up on the day to be a counter-attacking team, which is what Spurs were doing. So I thought, that being said, even though he wasn't able to discharge his attacking duties, I thought defensively he did well to sort of give Werner a hard time up the field. So I have him at a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10 for Son. And then Ndombele?
I liked him, man. I thought he was good, man. This guy's got vision. This guy basically, he had a really, really rough last year, but this year he's really beginning to show his qualities, beginning to show his shine. And I thought that he was very smooth on the ball, very controlled, very composed, and really sort of created the most opportunity for Spurs. If you ask me, I have him at a 7.5 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10 for Ndombele. And Bergwijn, this guy's really impressive for me. He worked really hard. He looked good on the counterattack as well. Your thoughts on his performance?
Bro, I think Birdwine shut down ZH, bro.
Mm.
I think that's what it was. I think his job today was to shut down Ziyech, and I think he did that really well at the expense of his own attacking game. This guy can attack. This guy can ball, but man, he's a soldier, man. When this like I've seen him play like the last couple of games, I've been focusing more on his game, and he's just always running, man. He's like a workhorse. I really like to see that. I have to take away points because you want a little bit more on the attacking side, but I really want to say that when I give him 6 out of 10, it should really be like a 7 out of 10 because of the work he was doing defensively. But I got to give him a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 for Bergwijn, and then Harry Kane, one of his more silent evenings. But your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I think Kane had a tough game, but I think that was going to happen. Everybody knew
it was going to be a cagey game.
Everybody knew it was going to be a cagey game. Lamps knew. Everybody knows what Kane's going to do, right? So Chelsea have the players in the midfield to be able to press him when he does come in deep. You have you can put Kovacic, you can tell to run on him, you can put Kante to run on him, you can just make his life difficult. And I think they did a really good job in making his life difficult. He did his best, but he wasn't able to operate with the same space and efficiency that he usually gets in so many of these games. So I have him at a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10 for Harry Kane. And then for the subs, Davis Moura didn't really play that much. So I'll just go with Lo Celso for you. So he came on for Ndombele around the 65th minute.
Yeah, he came on in the 65th. I gave him at a 6 out of 10. I thought he was good, but I don't know, man. Like, I feel like Lo Celso is a sort of player that needs to play against a specific sort of team. You can't just play him against anyone. I think he's really talented, don't get me wrong. But I just feel that he needs to be playing against a very specific type of setup for you to see the best out of him. And I don't know if, obviously he didn't start today, so that makes sense. But, he did what he could, but, he wasn't able to bring too much to the table. Not enough time, but still enough, 35 minutes, but not 35, but 25 minutes. He did what he could, but yeah, 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 for Lo Celso. That wraps up Tottenham's player ratings. Just a last question for both of you before we wrap up. So I was watching the manager's post-match interviews, and it was kind of opposite than what I expected. Mourinho was not happy with the draw. He's saying is players were pissed off. They wanted to win. Normally he would take that point away from home against Chelsea, a very competitive Chelsea team, both title challengers. He would take that point and remain at the top. Whereas Lampard was the happier side, playing at home, happy with the 0-0 draw. Do you think that's a bit more influence of the no fans in the stadium and that away, the home advantage gone, and just looking at the game itself rather than that home?
I think it's more the fact that Mourinho really feels that he has a chance with this Tottenham team. Okay. I think Frank knows that he still needs another season or two for this team to gel together. Donny's been saying it from the beginning of the season that they have a lot of talent, they're going to play really well, but they still need to gel and come together, and that takes time. And Mourinho has had time with this squad, and he has got a really good squad. So I think he genuinely feels that this is his year to win it. City's messing up, Liverpool, not having the best of starts, even though they're doing well. Tottenham's looking really threatening. The table is really open, and he knows that he has a legitimate shot at getting it done this year. So I think that's where the mentality of this was points dropped for us today, versus for Frank, where he knows that it's still a work in progress for him. So it's a point gain, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get that. And Don, do you agree with that? But it was surprising, right? We're not used to Mourinho saying something like that. You would definitely be normally be happy with this kind of performance and a point away from home to keep them at the top of the table.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would have expected him to be happy because he would be happy with this kind of a performance. But it was a little bit interesting for me as well because even I watched it.
It's actually positive signs if you're a Tottenham fan. Which you're not, but yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Because it shows they're hungry. They're going for the title, indirectly, like what Zoe said. That's what it shows, right? If you're not
absolutely
happy with that.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it, they are title challengers.
You're a fair guy, man. You're a fair guy. I like listening to you. You're unbiased in this situation.
They're right up there in terms of challenging for the title this season. Will they be able to keep this going? That's good. That's probably the only concern for them, because I think in terms of the tactics, in terms of being able to get through the season, everything, they will probably suffer if they have one or two big injuries, which is probably the worry for almost every team now. But that's probably going to be the thing. I think that they are title challengers. I think that's probably why they felt like they probably dropped a couple of points.
By the way, I have a theory as to why Arsenal, when they all of a sudden they're doing well and now they've been underperforming, I think it's directly linked to firing Gunnar Soros. I think as soon as you guys let Gunnar Soros go,
he's back.
Is Ozil paying his wages?
He's back. No. Though I think the club got involved or whatever, because fans are coming back, right? So he's back. Yeah.
Fans are coming back. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Some really good points. Do you guys have any last thoughts about this game or anything in general?
No, I
thought it was a really fun game to watch for a new. What did you say?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the pod, but I just hope they start messing up soon, man. I can't.
You have the chance to do. Your team has the chance to do that, like spoil the party if you want.
I'm starting to freak out about that. I still have a few days. Don't remind me. I may start getting hard.
But knowing Arsenal, like I mean, this season, like they've lost the easier games and won the harder games, but like against United they won, so they might put up a fight.
That's not a hard game.
Okay.
Bro,
but yeah,
fraud. Just like Pep was a fraud, Arteta's a fraud.
But it's gonna be a really good game, man. Right? But for the first time, I think Tottenham are like proper favorites going into this game. Maybe not the first time, but for you, the first time.
I don't agree with that. I think
listen, you're gonna be without your record signing because he's an idiot.
Partey.
No. Pepe, bro.
Oh, Pepe. Oh, that guy, I don't rate him that high, but yeah.
I thought Pepe, he was, the game he played against Europa, I know the team was Molde and stuff like that, but bro, he was on fire that game. So I do think that hopefully, then a lot of people on Twitter were commenting as well. Hopefully this is kind of the turning of the leaf for him, because he really gets what kind of a stupid mistake he made. I was very, very upset with him. I was like,
bro, even I'm Maldini in Sunday League, bro, but you don't see me playing in the Premier League. What's your point here?
But yeah,
no, I'm just saying he was on fire. But just generally, I know it was a weaker team and stuff like that. But I can't wait for him to be back. Hopefully, hopefully we'll see a little bit more of him and a little bit more of him being a little bit smarter than what he was in that game where he went and headbutted.
Yo, honestly, I laughed so much though, man. I'm like, no way, and this is hilarious. It was great TV. I must thank you for that.
I was on my knees. I was shocked. I was just like, my mouth was open. I don't care what he did to you, man. That's not something you do. Like, it's just so stupid. Yeah. But yeah, I am looking forward to the game. I think that. I always love a North London derby, and we rarely lose to those guys. So I'm hoping that
is one of those rare times.
Streak continues. What's
up?
That it's one of those rare times that you lose to them. That's what you're hoping.
No. I think that the streak continues, and this will be the turning around of our season.
Yeah,
I'm still hopeful of this season. I've not written us off yet.
Yep, we'll definitely get into that game. I just want to end this saying that, just to give my co-host some reassurance that Roy Keane said that Arsenal will probably stay up and they won't get relegated. So don't worry. Like, even if they lose against Spurs, Roy Keane has already confirmed that they will stay up. So enjoy the rest of the week. I'll get your thoughts on the game in more detail in our predictions episode.
Listen,
long
bro.
Season.
I gotta tell you something right now. Tony Pulis already isn't available when you guys start slipping down further the table. Get your hands on Big Sam while he's still there, bro. Get your hands on him and get rid of this Arteta fraud before you lose the opportunity. I'm just saying, out of concern for you, bro. This is not out of any malicious intent.
It took Klopp 5 years to build his team. We'll be so much better than him in 5 years. Just watch. And this is a long season. Now you're over, bro. Now you're over.
I think that's a good time to wrap up the episode. But thank you guys for joining me. It was a lot of fun. Some really good points there for the player ratings for Spurs and City. Both Zohair and Don, you guys nailed it today. I think it was a lot of fun. And hope to see you guys soon, and take care.
Yep.
Right,
enjoy the Champions League and the Europa League. Take care, guys.
Sir.
Take care.